Fantastic, David. Glad you have stuck with us. This is going to be a remarkable closing session with Dick de Rijk talking to David Lyle about all of the challenges that he's faced as one of the most prolific creators in the formats business. We're also using this occasion to present Dick with the C21 FRAPA Formats Gold Award, which is presented in association with MIPFormats. This is normally presented in October, but we're now bringing it forward to be a part of the MIPFormats event, and it's in recognition of outstanding contribution to the business. So it really is a time to celebrate creativity. Once we've done that, we'll all be having a drink in the bar, so please do stay with us. This award has previously been presented to Merv Griffin, Stephen Leahy and Trish Kinane, Peter Bazalgette, and last year, Reg Grundy. But now, in 2011, it gives us fantastic pleasure to present the award to Dick de Rijk.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Wow.
Well done.
Wonderful.
Please. Oh, yeah. Dick, would you like to just for a shot?
We need a picture. Posterity.
Does my bum look big in this? Good.
Thank you.
Dick.
Well, I would like to say a big thank you to the Reed Meadham people and people of C21 and FRAPA for this beautiful award. It really means a lot to me. I tell you why it means a lot to me, because this is really an award about formats and formats only, and that's really what my job is about, formats and formats only. So I couldn't think of a more relevant award for me personally, so I'll give it a place of honor in my office, and I'm going to show off with it. Thank you.
Thank you, please. And ladies and gentlemen, to talk to Dick about his career, his thoughts, his views and the future, please welcome again David Lyle.
So everyone in the room here has a format in their pocket, at least one, I'd say. And they look to you as someone who's not only made a career out of the format business, but been hugely successful. So the first question is, how and where do you get your inspiration? How do you approach I'm going to come up with a format?
Wow, what a question. To be quite honest, I don't think there is any specific location or anything that I can think of that would in particular inspire me. So the answer is really maybe nothing, but that's not a very good answer. So maybe it's everything that inspires you, like everyday life. So or whatever you do, I think it's more like developing a sense that makes it possible for you to recognize in anything you do or anything you see something that could be useful as an idea. And maybe books is something I should mention. Books is really something I really enjoy. For instance, going to Vowels in London on Soho Square. If I go there for 3 hours, I'm more inspired than maybe a MIPTV show or being in the business.
And you make notes, so you don't let stuff wash over you.
Oh no, certainly. I was the way it works maybe is I was once with my wife invited to one of those see how many friends I've got parties, and we were walking around there for maybe even 15 minutes before I could actually see anybody that I knew. And during those 15 minutes, I thought, what if we were all invited here by one person and nobody knew this? And what if we're not here with a few hundred people, with just 8 people or something, and we were in a room, and we were to find out who invited us, so we would have a common denominator together. And so this is how it works. And then the bell starts ringing, and then I indeed make notes. As a matter of fact, I always have that on me. I don't rely on my memory.
And one of those notes led to your most famous show, didn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It was a note that was actually already 10 years old. It was originally designed to be a board game mechanism.
And it was a sticker note, was it? A yellow post-it note?
No, I have actually those notes in my home office. I change them in a half pager or a one pager, and then I put them in a database system.
And how did you come back to it? What made you
what I do is I grab some of these one pagers at certain points in the year, and I go somewhere like a nice Heidi hotel on top of a mountain in Switzerland, and then go through them and then start, hey, what's this? What can I do with it? It's the second stage of development, actually.
Okay, well, we should perhaps have a look at a clip of what came out of that board game that you put down for 10 years and then picked up. If we can, please have our first clip now.
I'm going to go with number 20.
Case number 3. Number 16.
This is a life-changing decision. $199,000, $250,000, $407,000. Deal or no deal?
Deal or no deal? A TV phenomenon sweeping the world.
I say no deal.
Mr. Trump says no deal.
My heart's just like beating so fast.
And surrounded by cases holding millions of dollars. We will give someone the chance to choose one of these cases.
18.
26.
17.
They're going to have to be lucky, gutsy, and have a great sense of timing. Will it be 1 million or 1 penny? There's something he'd like to say to you.
Tell him to come down here and make the offer.
$97,000. Deal or no deal? 3 cases left.
I know you're crazy, but you're not crazy.
Would this change our lives? Absolutely. Am I greedy?
$250,000 is a sure thing. $500,000 is a 50-50 chance. Deal or no deal?
We're gonna take the million!
$3 million. Wow!
No deal!
You don't want to make this decision by yourself, do you?
No, I don't.
Take the money.
Wait a second, think about it.
No guts, no glory. Let's go for it.
Illinois, Florida, South Carolina.
This is the best game show ever.
This is nuts.
Deal or no deal?
Now, how many territories has that gone to demonstrate its universality?
Well, we were in 35 territories when we got it on air in the United States, and after that it just rocketed sky high. I think it was in 150 territories or something like that.
So, okay, you've got an idea, scribble down a piece of paper for a board game. You revisit it, and you go, hey, there could be something here for a TV show. Now, your background was in advertising. You worked in the advertising industry. How has that sort of long, strong background, because you've only been in the TV format business a dozen years. You're a newcomer.
I'm a baby.
You know, this guy really had another career. This is just something to do after his real job. So how did that advertising training help in that crucial part going from an idea to a show?
I think that the step to go from, when you've been in, working in the creative process of say, the culture of creative thinking and advertising, it's only a very small step to creating formats. As a matter of fact, it's the ideal school, you could say.
In what ways?
Well, I was a copywriter. Well, first of all, you learn to think fast and very flexible. So today you're working on cornflakes, tomorrow it's a new car, and next week it's sanitary napkins. So you have to be very flexible and fast in your creative thinking. You learn that. You also learn about deadlines, so to shift gears. But most importantly, all the disciplines that you find in an advertising environment is what you need with formats. I used to be a copywriter, so that came in handy because I could write formats and make them clear and attractive to read. I work with art directors, with illustrators, photographers, all people that visualize things, so you learn that too. We made lots of commercials, of course, so I knew how a camera, what's going on before or in front of and behind the camera. And then, of course, the pitching is something. I mean, I don't think there is anything more difficult than selling an advertising campaign. I mean, if just imagine Avis car rental is on the other side of the table, and you have to tell them they have to invest $100 million into the phrase, "We try harder."
Because they're number two.
Because they're number two. So it's hard. But it's great because all these things is what you need to bring a format from a scratch to a pitch.
We were talking in an earlier session about how audiences are getting older. You've noticed that too, haven't you? That
yes. Yes, they're absolutely getting older. As a matter of fact, I just read an article in Los Angeles where they said that was last week, a publication last week, where they said that the average age of, for instance, a series like Cheers was 34 years, and the average age now of big drama series in the US go from 47 to 57, average age.
Average.
So that's a huge challenge, actually, for creative thinking, for formats.
Another challenge is to try and figure out where the game show is going, how game shows are progressing. And you've addressed this, haven't you?
Yes, because I think that I think anonymous contestants winning huge amounts of money on television could be on their way out. It might be a statement that may sound ridiculous in a year from now, like many people's statements, but I don't think so, because I think nowadays, if you want to go for dominating ratings with a game show on primetime, you need to have that involvement from the viewer more than ever before, because the viewer nowadays is asking himself, who is that guy? Why is he making all that money? Can I relate to it? Can I identify? Is there a context? And that's really the reason why I worked during the last year on two shows, Money Grabbers and You Deserve It.
And You Deserve It, you pitched in the States first. So you went from paper to the United States and got a sale.
Yes.
That's pretty unusual.
It is unusual, yes, that is unusual. But we decided to do it that way because we thought we just wanted to pitch it there first before going anywhere else. We thought it was a show that would fit the United States perfectly, and I hadn't been in the States for a while pitching, so that's what we did.
And one of your rules is only pitch to people who are qualified to buy. One of the joys of being Dick de Rijk is that you don't get juniors.
No, I think in pitching it is very, very important that you prepare it well. I mean, it's the end of a long, long track that you've been through from that little note to have all the tools to pitch at a network. That was a long way and an expensive way, and I just want to make sure that all works well.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to be the first people in the world to see this next clip. It was brought in this morning by Michael. Hot off the press, where the pilot's made for ABC. Do you want to say anything beforehand, or should we?
Yes, because
it comes in two parts.
Yeah, it comes in two parts. So what we see first is a very unusual start for a game show. It's only a 2-3 minute clip, and it's really to establish that involvement with the viewer from scratch, and we bring the story to the viewer in this way. And hopefully this will establish that empathy and sympathy of the viewer more than ever before.
Okay, now we can show you for the very first time, You Deserve It. Roll the clip, please.
You Deserve It, the first ever game show that's not about receiving. This show is about giving.
She's, without a doubt, the best mom that anybody could ask for.
Where you don't play for yourself.
She'll go to a soup kitchen. She'll go to a homeless shelter.
You play for someone in need.
My mom lost her husband. She lost her job.
Someone who deserves it.
Now she has a heart problem that she can't treat because she doesn't have the money.
If Carol had access to appropriate resources, we could literally give Carol her life back.
I have to look at my mom and pretend I know the answer. And I don't.
My name is Casey Holliday, and that's me and my mom, Carol, 21 years ago. My mom grew up in Southern California and was married at the age of 21. She graduated from college and went on to become a dental hygienist. She raised all 3 of us kids and practically adopted our friend Josh when his mother passed away.
She always went out of her way to make me feel like one of the family.
In her mind, there's always somebody struggling worse than her.
Carol always try and go the extra mile to help other people. I think that's why it's really difficult to understand how she could end up in the situation she's in now.
18 months ago, my parents split up after 32 years of being together.
To add insult to injury, she loses her job within a few days. That was absolutely devastating to her.
Her lease was coming up. She really had no place to go. She was broken.
My mom is breaking down, crying to us, saying, like, what do I do, almost? I would have hoped that things would have gotten better, but they didn't. They got worse. My mom found out she had a heart condition known as cardiomyopathy.
Congestive heart failure is actually the most expensive disease in the country. If Carol had resources, we could improve her symptoms dramatically.
And that is why I'm here.
Because even though you may not think so, Mom, I know that you deserve it.
You deserve it. The game show that proves it's better to give than to receive.
Well, the old cliche of get to the first question in a minute 30 obviously doesn't apply there.
Not at all. It's totally unusual. But that's the different angle of this show. It's a hybrid. It's a studio-based gameplay. It's a reality component, and there is a huge surprise. Because actually now we're only a couple of minutes in the show, and all we know really is who the contestant is and who the beneficiary person is. But that beneficiary person has no idea of what's going on. She has been taken out to a restaurant by friends who are also in the plot. She has no idea that, in this case, her son is on television playing for her. She has no idea about the hidden cameras in the restaurant. She has no idea about a co-host, in this case, the actress Brooke Burns, who is there with family members. And is about to burst into that restaurant at the end of the show with all those family members and the crew to give that lady the surprise of her life.
I'm fascinated to know what happens next, as I'm sure everyone is. Should we look at the section where
before
we see the game?
Before we get to that reveal, though, this contestant has to go through 6 really nerve-wracking rounds. And each round...
But after you've set up the stakes, you know, that this is doing good, what happens if the guy flames out? What happens if he bombs out?
He can't. I made damn sure that's not possible. There are several ways to make structures, because when I had the show together, I thought I need to have a gameplay here that acts up to 2 criteria. First of all, it shouldn't be possible that a contestant loses everything she has won so far. That's not possible in this show. But still, you need a thriller game. So that's a paradox in itself. But the solution was to make her lose the future possibility on money, which is a totally new thing, really. And it's just the same tension. It's great. It really is. And the second thing I wanted to establish was to have a gameplay that is so really addictive and wonderful to play that even without the whole reality and even without the whole charity, it would still be a fantastic game show. Well, and that's why it took a year to make it.
Okay, let's have a look at the second clip, if we could.
Thank you.
The mechanics, if you will, of You Deserve It.
Thank you.
It's the groundbreaking new game show from the creator of Deal or No Deal.
And welcome to You Deserve It, the show that believes it's better to give then to receive. This is Carol. Her life is about to take a dramatic turn for the better. What she doesn't know is her son is here tonight, where he can win a huge amount of money. And every dollar he wins is going to her. Casey, I don't even have to ask how special this woman is to you. I can see it.
I'm incapable of describing how much she means to me. To watch her lose her husband and her job, and then find out that she has a heart condition that she literally can't do anything about because she doesn't have the means to do that. I feel like this will give her life again.
Are you ready to do this?
I'm pumped. I'm set. Let's do it.
These folks over here, very special to you. Family and friends, they want this to happen as well. Before we continue, let's go to my partner, Brooke Burns, who's at our hidden camera location to explain what's going on over there. Brooke.
Thanks, Chris. We're here outside of Carol's favorite restaurant. Now, she's inside having dinner, thinking that she's here for a girls' night out. Meanwhile, I'm here with all her friends and family members, getting ready to give her the biggest surprise of her life.
All right, Casey, here's how the game works. 6 rounds, from $10,000 to $250,000. First round, we're $10,000. To win a round, you have to solve a who, what, or where question. There are 10 clues to help you along the way. The first clue is always free, but the rest you're gonna have to pay for. Your $10,000, we're gonna break down into 9 amounts. From $100 all the way up to $3,000. You're randomly hidden behind these 9 numbers right over here. The number you pick, the amount behind it, that's how much you'll have to pay for the next clue. The fewer clues you use, the more money that you can win. So Casey, let's play You Deserve It. Let's reveal the first category. Let's do this. Who? Let's take a look at the first clue. 2002 sexiest man alive.
I'm gonna need another clue.
The rest, you're gonna have to pay for. So pick a number with a low amount behind it.
I'm gonna start with number 2.
Let's hope for a low amount.
Come on, low number. Come on, low number!
Let's see what 2,500 buys you an Oscar-winning screenplay. You can lock in an answer, but if you give me an incorrect answer, not only do you not earn any money, you have to repeat this level, which means you won't get the opportunity to play that $250,000 round.
I'm going to lock it in with Ben Affleck.
Is it Ben Affleck?
I'm winning money for my mom. Is that not rad?
Casey tries to accumulate as much as he can. Here's the category. What? Think about this clue right here, hammers.
Hammers, that's a tool. I feel like it should really help me, and it's not.
Let's put this together. Chopsticks. Most are Asian. At the bar. 3-legged with a question mark. Tickle. 36 flat.
I'm 70% confident that it's peanut.
Are you ready to lock it in?
I am.
Is it piano? Let's go to my partner, Brooke, who's standing by. Brooke, here we go.
Hi, Carol. What is this? My name is Brooke Burns. What? I'm with the show You Deserve It. Please take a look at the screen over there.
Mom, I just won you $77,400. Mom, because you deserve it.
And we brought a little something to show you.
There you go.
Congratulations to Carol. Casey, great job, buddy. What a wonderful family. I'm Chris Harrison. We'll see you next time on You Deserve It.
You Deserve It, the first ever game show that proves it's truly better to give than to receive.
Thank you.
Did you have a cardiologist standing by when you shocked her with that money?
No.
Oh, I was worried.
But the first thing she does when she runs in is making that lady feel comfortable immediately. But that's the point. That's the point.
It's really a hybrid in every sense of the word, isn't it? It's not a game show. It's not a hidden camera show. It's not a reality show.
No, it's a heart-stopping gameplay, studio-based. It's the emotion on reality, on location, and it's this building up to this reveal because we constantly build it up. After each round, we go back to Brooke at location. We have a statement of a family member, or we see this lady unaware of, she could be sitting on $100,000 there without knowing it. And so we constantly make it clear to the viewer also, it's about this. This is the story. The story is important because you tend to lose everything when you are in the gameplay. It's such an interesting gameplay, really, and that you tend to lose what it's all about.
It's got great play along the board with the clues,
Absolutely.
And you at home are screaming at the set, saying, I know what it is, I know what it is.
Yeah.
On the other hand, the other show that you've created, which has a wonderful clip with CGI and everything, it goes in a totally different direction. This is, if you will, a big physical...
Well, it's coming back to what I said in the beginning. I think that the time of anonymous contestants winning huge amounts of money without we knowing them is difficult, unless, of course, there is a sparkling and a spectacular new idea attached to it. And with money grabbers, that's what you're referring to. I think we have succeeded in doing that. It's a crazy, stunning set idea connected to a even crazier gameplay. And
all right, let's have a look.
That's what it is. It's a
have
fun
a look
game.
At Money Grabbers.
Just imagine you're locked in a stunning, perfectly clear glass dome. You're facing 7 nerve-wracking rounds. After each round, you're in the eye of a storm of thousands of dollar bills. Once over, you're left standing in a mountain of cash. Woo! Depending on how smart you are, it could be millions of dollars. It's all yours. That is, if you're fast enough to grab the cash in a heart-stopping race with a spectacular money-grabbing finale. Welcome to Money Grabbers, the new game show sensation. After a quick knockout round where 5 contestants compete to be the fastest, it's time for one lucky contestant to enter the huge money dome. Once inside, only 2 things matter. How smart are you?
Produced by the human body, true or false? Endorphin.
How fast are you? One means nothing without the other. Huge money machines holding thousands of dollar bills stacked according to face value are connected to the sealed dome with clear pipes and ultra-powerful wind generators. Here's how Money Grabbers works. The contestant is just 7 short rounds away from the ultimate grab. Each round consists of 7 quick true or false questions relating to a certain category. These questions are projected onto massive screens surrounding the dome. The contestant has just 5 seconds to answer each question before it drops off the screens. After round 1, 1,000 bills are blown into the dome. After round 2, 2,000 bills are blown in. Until round 7 delivers a tornado of 7,000 bills. Now, the contestant is knee-deep in 28,000 bills. But which bills? How many of each value? In theory, they could all be $1 bills or $100 bills. That's the difference between $28,000 and $2.8 million. Because the more correct answers the contestant gives, the higher up the money ladder he climbs. The money ladder consists of the 7 existing denominations, increasing in value from $1 to $100. Just one correct answer? Too bad, the dome is filled with $1 bills. Next round.
True.
False. True.
False.
6 correct answers?
It was.
The dome is filled with $50 bills. If that happens to be round 7, well done. A hurricane of no less than 7,000 $50 bills is pumped into the dome. One last crucial round decides how much precious time the contestant will have to grab as much money as he can. Immersed in cash, the clock set at 0. It's time to power up the wind turbines and grab the money. With the audience cheering him on and the countdown ringing in his ears, our contestant has reached the most important moment of his life. Will our contestant grab 10,000, 100,000, or maybe even a cool $1 million? With millions of dollars literally up for grabs, every second counts. Money Grabbers, the new game show sensation.
Okay. Now, we're a bit jammed for time, so I have more questions, but you may have questions as well. If you've got questions, raise your hand. If not, be quick about it. No, I'll continue. So in the process of working your game show formats, because you can overdevelop, when do you feel you've got a good format? When do you feel the development process has worked?
Well, it's I'm an insecure person, so that takes a long time before I think this is it. I read once about Steven Spielberg that he is also insecure, and that he said it's like having big ears. Oscars don't change it. So it's in the nature of things to be insecure. And I think if you're insecure, that's good, because the better is the chance that you come up with that additional idea, that second idea, maybe even the third layer that makes a nice format all of a sudden a fantastic format.
Mm-hmm.
So I can, for instance, imagine that the weakest link, someone comes up with the idea, let's have a voting system from Big Brother, for instance, into a totally different genre, game show.
Quiz, yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. A lot of people say, oh, fantastic, let's build a show around that. But then someone came up, obviously, and said, it's not enough. We need a bitchy host. We need a host who's a pain in the neck for the contestants. And there you have a totally new, beautiful format. I love that creative process.
And I'm going to lob one over the net very slowly to you. So it's easier making game shows than other forms of TV, is it?
Yes, certainly, David. It's very easy, yeah. It's also easy to sing if you see Frank Sinatra sing, and it's I wouldn't say that it's more difficult than other genres, but it's definitely not easier than other genres.
You've got to have a different sort of mindset, though, don't you? About
yes. Well, people say to me, for instance, about Set for Life or Deal or No Deal, they say, wow, it's genius, because it's genius because it's so simple. And why didn't anybody else ever think of that? But, for instance, that show, those kind of shows, they have no idea about the mathematical or psychological implications that you have to go through. It really took quite a few mathematicians to come up with a software to make a show like Deal or No Deal at all possible. You cannot sell a show to a network and say, we don't know what it will cost you. We have to come up with an average payout, which makes mathematical sense. So apart from this creative thinking and having a nice idea, you also have to make absolutely sure you can back it up with
But you also mentioned
else.
the other thing, not just the mathematical or the logic, but the psychological and the empathy. And it's that combination you seem to excel at.
Maybe, yes. I like psychological elements.
And knowing how the tension grows.
Yeah, I look at a game show as a football match.
Yeah.
Because if you see a person watching a football game or a soccer game, and someone is in between him and the TV set, he will kick your ass. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to miss a second, and you can learn from that because. So obviously, characteristics of a sports game are interesting for a game show. You don't want to miss a second of anything that's going on because anytime something may happen that can change the whole game around. And besides skill, you also need a bit of luck or bad luck. I like those components, so you will find them in many of my work.
All right. Well, tonight we have been running late, so I could sit here talking for a great deal longer. I wanted to talk about pitching because I know that's one of your things, pitching in the United States. If I do that as a last question, just for me, how do you think that is a different skill set to pitching in other countries, if you will?
Well, as I said earlier, pitching is for me the end of the track. So I suffer from pitch phobia because it's not that I'm afraid of things, but I want to make absolutely sure everything is in place. So I don't want to pitch at a network and be confronted with a lounge environment that either the network is sitting like this when you're pitching or I am. So I really demand a conference table and I really want a technician to be there half an hour before we start.
You take your own machine if you're going
If they
to show
don't have the equipment, which we will test before, I will bring my own stuff. Yes, I just don't want to. I don't want to mess things up after a year of work because I didn't have the correct cable or something. It's not going to happen. I don't want that. It happened to me once, and that's how you learn.
It usually.
And the bigger the network, the more you have to be careful about being things the way you like it.
Well, may your insecurity continue to keep you spurred on. Dick de Rijk, congratulations and thank you for being our
Thank you. It's very
keynote.
nice to be here with you, David. Thank you. Thank you.
And now, I believe there's a drink out in the foyer. And there's also the FRAPA table where I encourage you to join. Not only do you get protection for your formats, you get commercial benefits as well. Please check it out. That's my plug.